yank the engine out with the training mount still in place because the bell housing hits the bottom of the cab. So we're gonna cut the training mount out. That still goes around, oil pan, didn't even touch it. So Dunbo weather is crazy, but it's not that crazy that we have snow one week and the next week it's sunny and beautiful with weeds up to my chest. If you think that these videos are made in a full month's time, we're able to build this entire truck, you are sadly mistaken. The wiring on this truck actually is taking longer than moving the axle and the engine and all that stuff over. On top of that, we had to wait for him to find this truck, get it brought over from the States, find our parts truck, and all that takes time. So we want to make the videos so that they're entertaining and that you guys have something new every week. But these things don't happen overnight, and this project has been going on for about 8 months now. Mainly due to my lack of time to being able to focus on it again, but we're getting close to the end and hopefully have this one done in a few more weeks. So this is the original project, which is a 92 regular cab, long box, dually, with a 5-speed, powered by a 5.9 Cummins and 4x4 options. When I got the project, the cab was pretty well as it is. The frame was decent and the engine was running. So we resealed the engine, redid the frame, and then the owner was looking for a cab that he could replace this one with and a decent box. So in the process, there is no good, if you find a decent cab, you also find a decent box. So instead, he found our 85 truck. He found this 85 crew cab long box dually, and I wasn't thrilled about starting to swap everything over, but this truck is actually in really good shape. So there's one hole just where the driver's foot was, so we got a floor pan for that, but all the other floor pans are in excellent shape. You can still see the paint, the original paint on the inside of the frame here, and that you will not see that anywhere in Ontario. Wasn't thrilled about having to convert everything over because the only thing that this truck is good for is the frame, the box, the cab, and the interior, and just the plastic dash. Everything else had to be changed. So the entire front suspension, back axle, drive shafts, fuel tank, every stitch of wiring, bumper, grille, everything is being switched over. And all this truck is good for is just the sheet metal pretty well. So in doing so, we didn't have enough parts left on our 92 to make it all work. So this leads us to our 91 regular cab, long box, 2-wheel drive automatic, but with a 5.9 Cummins. So since we already had a good engine, but no wiring harness, we bought this one because this wiring harness was super clean. I think an older farmer just bought it, drove it in the fields, and didn't really cobble anything. This one had the cracked timing cover on it. Now I was able to use everything off of the engine and use it on my 04 Tahoe conversion. For our 85 truck, we needed the entire wiring harness for the engine, and the only difference is the 2 plugs that go to your transmission. Luckily, we were still able to keep those off of our regular cab 92, and that gives you your tack, I believe, off your transmission and your 4-wheel drive sensors. But the actual engine harness for the engine and the whole front grille was really clean off of this 91. We also needed the all the vacuum lines for the heater, as every one of those was cut on the 85 for some reason, along with the fuel pump, the fuel tank. The bumper and the grille were in good shape, so we're going to put those on, and basically the wipers, the heater fan, everything else has to come off of this truck and go into the 85. So putting that all in perspective, also the door handle, we got to take off yet the inside guts. I hope I didn't wreck it for rolling the truck. If we had to buy all those pieces individually, the price goes up and up and up, and we couldn't even find a wiring harness on eBay or aftermarket for the engine or the dash. So just those few things would pretty well pay for the truck. still be able to get a couple $100 for a scrap for it. And we got a fifth wheel plate in the back yet we might be able to get $50 for or so, but between the Tahoe and this conversion, this truck very well paid for itself. We don't throw anything away until everything is done and running, and a month later down the road everything is still okay, because you always need something that you don't think about. The only thing I think left good on this truck is the seat, so if anybody wants a blue bench seat with no holes in it, shoot me a line. How's it going, Mike? So how many hours have you been wiring it so far?
Probably coming around 18 hours.
Yeah, how many hours do you think you gotta go?
Maybe one more.
Okay, and right now with 18 hours of wiring it, what's all working?
Headlights, high beam only, not low beam, no blinkers, no four-ways, instrument cluster comes on, gauges are moving, lights are working, I can dim them on the instrument cluster.
Wipers?
Nope.
Fan?
Nope.
Heater controls?
Nope.
Brake lights?
Nope.
Tail lights?
Nope.
Fuel gauge?
Nope.
Oil light? Okay, but we'll give you more of an update once we get a little farther. But the wiring is taking longer than the entire build so far. Here we go. Notice between the 91 and the 92 year that the fuel gauge when plugged in didn't go all the way to full. So we had to swap the fuel gauges to the other dash and then use the better plastic housing because a lot of these are cracked here. So it'll start to rattle out. But now the fuel gauge goes to full. So more things, and okay, there's a couple needles that are broken, so we're just using the best gauges from each one and making her look as pretty as we can.
Yada, yada, yada. I'm not sure what this one is. A couple more splices, add-ins. Some of it might be factory, some might not be. And then you get down to the near the end, it's physically melted, actually caught on fire.
I had to drill all new holes for the mounts for the air breather assembly. Drill all new holes in here. Even though one hole lines up, still got to mark and drill the other one for the mounting bracket for the computer. And then the wiring will just self-tap right to the fender. Then it goes behind the engine. The wiper motor is different, so we got to take the wiper motor off of the 93 and put that on as well. And I don't know about the fan yet, but we might be getting into the fan too with them being different. Now as for taking the wires out of the dash, there's no plugs for the door controls, so we had to take the door controls off, take all the wiring out of the door, and then pretty much start right over again. So we're just trying to pull all of this wiring out for the dash assembly. The only thing that looks the same is the heater, the duct controls. We can leave those alone. All three trucks that we're using were AC, so that should all be the same. Now we need to move our clutch pedals over, but we're missing a couple holes. So pretty simple to do that. We just hold a piece of cardboard in front of the holes in the cab, and then we can cut out the circles in our cardboard, and then we can lay that on the firewall and drill our holes for our clutch assembly and the necessary wiring. So here we go.
They're a little bit different. It's supposed to go like this. So you have to go to the other truck again and take this out, and it plugs into this. The plugs match. But you gotta find little things like this, damages here, cut wires. You gotta watch out for stuff like that because you go to hook it up and you have no idea. Keep plugging away at it.
So basically, from an 85, installing a 93 wiring harness and engine, everything is different. So pretty much every wire has to be replaced in the cab and under the hood, and also the sensors. The engines are different. The engine came out of the cab sitting on the ground, but the wiring harness came out of this donor truck here. So even every sensor, the only plug that is the same, even though the sensors look exactly the same, the plugs are different. So the only one that bolted right in or plugged right in was the oil, and the water and the fuel temperature. Other than that, every sensor and every wire pretty much has to be replaced, including the wiper motor, the brake boost, plug is too small. Everything has to be replaced, and it's just slow, tedious work. A few other bugs that we found. Low beam wasn't working on the right hand side, and what it was in the middle of the harness there. There was a break, so we like these heat shrink butt connectors for the moisture, even though the plugs in that, they're not heat shrink at all. For the lights, we try to keep it nice and clean. We got low beams and high beams working now. A few more things to knock off the list, but a long way to go yet. To follow a variety of projects that include conversions and repairs to anything from Ferraris to chainsaws. And check out the Take Boss, my newest invention that's coming to market. And remember, if you're not filthy, you're not rich.